So here we are, it's June 9th, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific. It's post-Keynote.
Post-Keynote.
We're going to have all of our thoughts, and we even have the Fishbowl of News, the Keynote edition. We'll go in there to pick the order of our stories. A little later this hour, we're going to check in with Rob and Josh. I think Josh is online right now from Welcome to Macintosh, so we're going to get their thoughts on today's Keynote. My word for it's underwhelming, but I'm sure it's in there on paper, so we'll get to other thoughts. Don't forget, you can join us, AOL Instant Messenger or iChat, TDL Live. AOL Instant Messenger or Mobile Me account. Let's get used to it.
Weird.
Chills down my spine. Yeah, would you like the honors?
I would love to. Thank you.
Okay, here we go. For those of you who are new to the show, we take today's news, we cut it up, we put it into a fishbowl and present it in a random manner.
Well, this is almost a 2-for-1 because you can't talk about this part without talking for this part. So, for those of you,
I'm still at the after party.
You just sit down.
Okay.
I don't want you to hurt yourself.
All right.
So for those of you who missed everything that happened today.
Yes, quickly.
Sorry. Wow.
Sorry.
The iPhone 3G was announced.
And now, is that the actual, from what we can tell, that's the official name, iPhone 3G?
From what we can tell,
okay.
Yeah. So that came out, not going to be available for purchase until July. But this just in, AT&T increases data rate for the iPhone 3G. So it looks like it's going to end up costing you an extra $10 a month is what it boils down to.
On the data plan.
On the data plan. So you're looking at $30 per month versus $20 per month. And that kind of stinks. So
suddenly that $200 iPhone that was such a bargain,
right.
2 years from now has cost you an additional $240 and is basically the same price as the previous iPhone.
Right.
But you can have GPS. So, I mean, what are you going to do?
You have GPS, kind of.
We'll get to that too. I think it's in the
okay. All right. So, bottom line, get a 3G iPhone. Going to cost you less upfront. Going to cost you more long term.
Let us know what you think. TDL Live, Instant Messenger. I grabbed two.
Don't be greedy.
I'm so sorry.
Don't be greedy.
See, we were supposed to be testing apps this afternoon, and then when there were no apps to test, I tested the Corona, which is fine, by the way.
Indulge.
All right, let's see what we got here. Now, this was lost in a little bit of the WWDC hullabaloo.
Which is surprising because it's really, really quite significant.
Oh, come on now. That QuickTime 7.5 has been released.
Should I go straight to the bowl?
No, I'm not done yet. 7.5 has been released for Macs and PCs, and it's going to, okay, you tell me without looking.
Yeah.
What does it do? What's
QuickTime?
Yes.
I'm gonna see video content with that.
This update. What does it do? It addresses. We're gonna play Apple Mad Libs. It addresses.
Got to be something security related.
Security issues, yes. And it's recommended for blank QuickTime 7 users. Recommended for blank QuickTime 7.
I'm gonna go with all.
That is correct.
I'm going to go with all users.
I'm waiting for the one where they say, this is QuickTime 7.6. We really recommend it if you only use GarageBand.
yeah. Only some of you should have this.
Only a few of you really need this. From the chat room there, from the iChat, I should say, someone pointing out that it kind of stinks that there's no open contract account with AT&T. And it's interesting with Verizon going to an open network over the next few years. You know, open device, any device. What do you do if you have an iPhone? We'll see.
I don't know, but also interesting that not abnormal either that when you get your 3G iPhone, if you already have an iPhone, you're re-upping.
The 2 years. It's not a continuing of the contract.
Exactly, which is nothing out of the ordinary, but interesting to note.
It is an interesting note, and the extra $10 fee as well. And don't forget, it's available in black. We should point out the prices.
Yeah.
$199 for black. That's an 8 gig phone. 16 gigs, you'll get it in black for $299, or in white, as Jamie referred to it. He calls it the color tax.
Right.
If you want it in white, it's an extra $100.
Right.
Because someone has to take all the color out of it. It's your turn to go in the bowl.
I hear bleach works.
Don't bleach your iPhone. That will void the warranty.
Me.com is live as part of Apple.
You know, through the years, I've had a lot to say about .Mac, and it hasn't all been pleasant. And my comment to you earlier, which may have been a little over the top, was just when you thought there couldn't be a selection of services less crucial for $99 a year, comes Mobile Me.
Comes Mobile Me.
So Mobile Me is the new branding of .Mac, and push email is the big thing. So like, let's say your aunt is sending you, one of those forwards where if you don't send it to 5 people you love,
within
10 minutes,
right?
And you'd get it, and you'd be like, oh, I don't have push email. 15 minutes has already gone by. Everybody's dying tonight at 12:01. Well, now, thanks to push email, you'll be able to talk to your friends in time.
Yes, this is very important. It's very important. But all joking aside, it's a
not yet.
It's okay. Well, we'll get back to the joking in a second.
Okay.
It's a catch-up play. It's a catch-up, and not ketchup. That's a condiment.
Okay.
Catch-up play to all of those BlackBerry users that have this. This is just the way it is, the way their life works in a push world.
Okay, but explain to folks what the push means.
Push basically means an email came into the server. Now I'm going to throw it out to your device, and I'm not going to wait and collect them for 15 minutes and then push them out to your device. As soon as it comes in, I'm going to grab it and throw it out to the iPhone. So that's basically what this Mobile Me is talking about.
But you can see how that doesn't really fit with the rest of .Mac in the terms that it's normally been sold as share your video with family, share your photos, put your bookmarks up. And one of the big, this is later in the fishbowl, I hate to dive ahead as it were, but pointed out in the chat that, folks, it's the end of iCards.
And I'm a little upset about that.
Well,
I really like sending those.
It doesn't cost anything for them to keep the iCards in there.
Right.
Why do you get rid of it? Why not just keep it? People are paying $99 for this service, which, if you stop and think about it, is half the price of the phone. You're saying this suite of services over 2 years is as important as the phone itself. Mm-hmm. I'm just glad we don't have to sell it.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you still get the photo sharing. You still get iDisk. It's beefed up to 20 gigs, which is nice. But yeah, I mean, they didn't really put that spin on it. And maybe because it's like it was a developer conference, and they're talking about push and they're talking about Exchange, and that's sort of the conversations that are happening. It made sense to point those features out, but it seemed like they almost neglected to mention the fact that it's still tied to iPhoto. You could still, do your web gallery straight from there and everything else. That it's going to work in the same sort of manner that it does now. I guess they didn't really push that as much as you get your email instantly. So
it just seems to me that .Mac was more of what I'm going to call the grandma sell. If you're in the retail store, someone's coming in, they're buying their first Mac, and you're like, hey, let me tell you about these features. And it seems to me, at least the initial marketing, maybe just trying to push what's different. Mm-hmm. I can't sell grandma on push email.
No.
I'm sorry, I can't do it.
No,
and I said, well, hey, do you have an iPhone? Wow, that's an iPhone. I'm sorry to grandmothers all over the world, but it just seems to me like it should have either been its own thing, and maybe the email should be, dare I say it, free, and pay for this push service if it's something you need. I don't get it. We didn't get any of the Google integration we could have expected. Mm-hmm. So at any rate, we're going to go now to two guys who have been following the Apple world intently, at least over the last few years, as they put together the documentary Welcome to Macintosh. Mm-hmm. We've got Rob and Josh. I think we're going to start with Josh there. He laughed at the jokes better. So we're going to go with Josh first. Josh, what do you make of today's keynote, and what do you think is going to be the reaction overall from Mac enthusiasts, and especially the longtime Mac fans? Personally, I was a little underwhelmed, but what do you think will be the reaction, and your own reaction, actually?
Well, I think hardcore Mac fans are going to love it. So I don't think there's any question there. Was it underwhelming? I think so. Oh, hold on one second here. There we go. Making an adjustment for you. There we go. I I think it comes in white now, which is going to stir up a lot of interest. I think it introduced a lot of features that, like you were saying, the rest of the world has had for quite a while, and I think the reality distortion field makes it so that everyone's like, oh my god, this is brand new for the first time, this is amazing, and really, yeah, enterprise users of BlackBerry and things like that have been there, done that, so they're like, oh, it's about time you caught up. But again, Steve Jobs has a way of making it seem new for the first time.
Thanks, Josh. And, I think that's a valid point, a good point about there is the distortion field, and there's this ability to make it, if it's new in the Apple world, it must just be new in the world. But the one thing I commented on during our coverage today was when you take something like the iPod, there were other MP3 players, and Apple basically leapfrogged them. They looked at what's out there and leapfrogged them. Obviously, they're new to the phone market, but this clearly, as you mentioned, is a catch-up. It's not now we're miles ahead. You give up those BlackBerries because you can now do X, Y, and Z with our service. Plus, it's not going to be a business service. As you pointed out, people are going to use Exchange if that's what they want to do.
Right.
At any rate, I think what Josh said is very true, and we'll see. We'll see if the faithful rally around this. If you already have a .Mac, it's extra features. So. Great, right? Yeah. Is that how I should look at this? As I think, wow, I paid $99 for this. Now I get this plus this other thing I won't use.
You have to. You have to. I mean, no. If you have .Mac, you have to be happy that you're getting something new. You're getting more. It looks like the interface, the web interface, is much better. The ability to share your files is way more comprehensive. You can now restrict the number of. You have more sharing ability through your iDisk. And you can put in different email addresses to send a link to the file to, and then you can limit per download even. You can say you can download this 2 times, and then you're done downloading this. So you have way more flexibility in the way that you share files now, which is great. If you're trying to share large photos or large graphical files, this is a really nice solution. Makes it really easy and works both on a Mac and PC. So. I like that. I like that it does that, and that's starting to get a little more competitive with some other file sharing options out there.
The importance of it working with a PC and the fact that the .Mac branding is gone. Do you think we're maybe paving the road here? I'm going to throw out a classic rumor here.
Yeah.
Paving the road maybe for OS X on the PC. I mean, it used to be.
No.
The idea was, well, why does it? We want people to buy Macs. If it works on the PC. Then they don't really need a Mac as much. Now, granted, the reality is you might be at work where there's a PC.
Right.
You might not be able to switch to a Mac. But it just seems like there's this from the name changing from Apple Computer to Apple down to now getting rid of .Mac. It just seems like the computer portion is being kind of marginalized in the overall picture.
I disagree. I think it's the device portion that's marginalized in the big picture. So you have your iPod that will work on a Windows-based machine. You have an iPhone where the iPhone doesn't care what your computer is as long as it runs iTunes, and iTunes runs on a PC. So I think it's based around the device rather than the computing platform. So now I think that if new devices come out, that yes, they'll probably be cross-platform, which just makes sense, with market share and everything as it is.
Right.
But I think that the Mac doesn't really have anything to do with it.
Chat room question regarding any more news on OS 10.6. There's a little bit of news about that kitten, and it's in that bowl.
Right.
Hopefully we'll get to it. And to clarify on a point earlier, there was a question about the new charge and whether that applied only to new phones. As we understand it, that's the deal, because you have 3G now. If you purchase the new phone, that triggers a new 2-year contract.
Correct.
And your data plan goes from $30 to $40.
Right, because when you signed your contract, you signed for a particular rate plan, and I'm not sure that they can up that
without some sort of opt-out opportunity.
Right.
Which is why they're probably doing it that way. We didn't hear anything about the whole free Wi-Fi from AT&T. That's been on, off, on again.
We didn't hear anything about that.
We'll see. I bet that ends up maybe being a 3G only feature.
Or that gets swept under the rug.
Or it gets swept under the rug. With that, let's head to the bowl.
Okay, I think you're up, but I'm going to go.
Oh, you go. You're closer.
Since you said it.
You're closer. Oh, here we go.
Here
I'm
it
telling you,
is.
we're so good at
Almost-
picking these.
almost-
So for those of you asking about the 10.6, do we have anything more to share on 10.6? A little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Optimization for multi-core processors.
Good. That's called an upgrade or moving on.
Right, moving on. GPU friendly.
As opposed now, oh, come here, you GPU.
Yeah. As if it weren't.
I know. That's
supports breakthrough amounts of RAM, 16 terabytes to be precise.
awesome.
That's a boatload of memory.
That is
folks.
a boatload, and I don't. Well, we'll see. It could be one of those things where we say, "Why would you ever need that much memory?" And a
Right.
year from now, we all have 16 terabytes of memory. I don't think so.
Yeah. New modern QuickTime. Is that going to be a 10? Is that going to be an
QuickTime
X?
X
Is that going
platform.
to be?
I'm guessing we're seeing a new, because QuickTime has always had its own numbering.
Right.
QuickTime 6, 7. There's something about 8. And this takes me back to my marketing days in college. There's something about the round numbers
Yeah.
that they don't market well.
Oh.
And so a QuickTime 8 just doesn't, there's something about it that just doesn't
we had
seem to-
OS 8.
We had to get past that though.
We did.
There's just something about the 8 that isn't real strong.
Okay.
And so apparently we're going to have QuickTime X or QuickTime 10, much like we have Mac OS 10.
That sounds
to go
good
with
to me.
QuickTime 10. And we'll see if there are any exciting new features, but we know it has an exciting new name. So there you go.
Safari with 53% faster JavaScript.
Finally.
Yeah, because I was really thinking my JavaScript was about approximately, give or take, 53%
Too slow. Okay, let's go here. Oh boy, it's a big one. It's a story
multi-part?
wrapped in an enigma. Let's see what we have here. 3G. Okay, so this, I'm not understanding the economics of this, and hopefully this will make more sense over the next few days. The economic model for the iPhone, the previous iPhone, was there was this deal. We don't know exactly how much money was changing hands, but Apple was essentially getting a cut of each month's subscription model.
That's correct.
According to AT&T representatives, that is not the case with the 3G data plan. So the phone is much, much cheaper. And is it subsidized behind the scenes? Is it not?
I think we're going to have to really wait for our next conference call.
Much closer than I usually am. Matt Girl saying to move over. That's not really where I normally am.
I really think that we're going to have to wait for the next earnings call to really understand. I think the analysts are probably going to ask this question pretty fervently to find out what the deal is with this revenue piece. I don't know that we're really going to get a whole lot more information until that happens, when we're a little ways off from that. So
I'm wondering, because this seems like, compared to the old system, Apple is taking a serious revenue hit here on this new phone, on a per phone basis.
I think it's hard to tell because we don't know what that figure is. We don't really know how much they're getting as a cut. It could be very minimal. It could be an amount that they can make up on the App Store. It could be. I don't really know.
And we're waiting for some clarification on the App Store. We know it's going to launch, with the 22 countries in which the iPhone 2.0 software will launch in July. There's we're not quite sure if it's a unified store. Now with iTunes, there's a US iTunes store, a UK iTunes store. And we don't know if you put an app is it just a singular app store, and so anyone with access to it will be able to get it? One would think so, because as you said about Monkey Ball,
right, Monkey Ball knows no language. Doesn't.
So we'll probably have more for this next week during the live show, as far as the breakdown of the money and Apple and all that. And we were commenting before we went on air that maybe this is a cheaper phone. Maybe the build isn't quite as pricey. We don't know. We don't know.
We don't know.
We know there are some features that didn't make the cut that some people had asked for, and we know those are in the fishbowl, so please.
Oh, my turn.
By the way, don't forget TDL Live. And once again, Rob and Josh, thank you for joining us. Their movie is Welcome to Macintosh. Really cool documentary. It's making its way on film circuit right now. You can go to welcometomacintosh.com for more information.
So this is the next story from the bowl. We already kind of touched on. Some features are not making the cut from .Mac to Mobile Me. iCards being one of them. Tier. Web access to bookmarks, which I personally never used, but
it makes sense on paper. It seems like a useful feature.
Yeah.
I also have never used it.
Yeah. So you can't do that. There's no push bookmarks. I don't know why. Panther support.
No more.
Come on, get up to date. And then .Max slides.
No more .Max slides.
Yeah.
What are you
Use
gonna do?
those a lot.
Hey, that says it all. Okay, this is a fortune cookie. So some missing specs on the iPhone. Going into today's keynote, probably the most talked about feature that's not there would be the video conferencing. I think that's a fair assessment.
As far as hyped rumors go,
Right, rumors.
yes. Agreed.
Now, as far as everyday usefulness of the phone,
Yep.
again, the old copy and paste issue. There wasn't a larger resolution camera, and I was disappointed that in seeing the apps, first of all, some stereotypes were reinforced. We have Cro-Magnon Rally, which is now Cro-Mag Rally is now at least a 10-year-old game, probably about 10 years old.
Yeah.
And so the whole thing, oh no, you can't game on a Mac. And here's Pangea, who's about the only person that's ever made a game for the Mac, and here's their game on an iPhone now.
Yeah.
Whereas you didn't see the major, game studios. And what I was saying off camera is it because of the Apple secrecy? Is it because these folks are used to, going to Nintendo, and Nintendo says, well, these are the specs of the Wii, make your game. Whereas Apple, well, you can't, we don't know, we can't tell you about the video chip, you just have to know it's kind of fast. And this isn't how they develop games.
Right.
They have to know the specs to develop games. Do you think that could be part of the problem?
I suppose it could
If
be.
it is a problem.
Well, here's my only thing that would sort of debunk that would be that the platform that they're developing for is the current phone. And the current phone has been out since the SDK.
Okay.
So they know they know the specs, they know that they can get their hands on it and play with it and everything else. So I part of me says yes, part of me says no for that reason. I think that if there's, I don't know how many people wanted to put a lot of weight into developing pre-Keynote today, because they didn't know what they were going to get.
Okay, fair enough.
What else, what other integrated services are they going to be able to tap into for the game? Is GPS going to, I don't know, treasure hunt game or something? I don't really know.
Hey, I like it.
Maybe.
I like it. The folks who do the geocaching and run around looking for
Right.
that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking
Not
about?
at all.
I didn't think you were. I was starting to know your
I was entertaining
fake
you.
right. I got it down. And then there's this whole thing someone had asked about social networking and the lack of social networking applications. And we said that Apple kind of missed the bus. They could have really done their own social networking with .Mac, but it doesn't really seem to be their space.
No, it's not their space. It's not what they do. Which kind of begs the question: what do they do? Since they changed their name from Apple Computer to Apple Inc., they kind of open themselves up to, well, we do a lot of different things, but it's very clear that they don't do social networking. I mean, they did the groups thing on .Mac. There were .Mac groups, which is, I guess, sort of social networking by invite.
Yeah.
Not really the same scale as anything else.
Haven't heard how that's going to work in the transition. We'll have to check on that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think it's going anywhere.
Okay.
I don't think. I think it's going somewhere, but not along with MobileMe.
A couple of notes, programming notes. First of all, this Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific. Can we buy a clock that tells me the different time zones, please?
We could.
We're going to have a live broadcast of Ignite Philly. It's a meeting in Philadelphia of various groups working on technology issues and also some social community projects. It's going to be pretty cool.
Right on.
Also, don't forget to check out the blog where we have fun stuff all week long. And of course, our video content, always fun here.
Always.
Whose turn? Mac Girl, who goes to the bowl? I'm going. Are you
sure.
sure? Didn't I? Okay, I thought I pulled the fortune
You
cookie.
did pull the fortune cookie.
Well, you get the last pull
All right.
then when we're done.
Fair enough. Can we go back to features for a second?
Oh, yeah,
Unless
sure.
it's-
No,
unless
that's
it's-
all right. That's all
What
right.
did you
Go
get?
ahead. Tom, go ahead.
Well, let me.
No, you can't cheat. That's cheating.
All right, fine. So,
If that's what's in there, wait till we get pull it.
but I don't know if it's in there at all.
All right. Go ahead, features.
Well, we were talking about features and features that were missing from today and things like that, and we didn't get MMS.
We didn't get MMS.
We did not get MMS, which, and some people are like, oh, well, you can just email it. Who cares? Well, most of the people that I know do not have a smartphone or an iPhone, or they have a regular, straight up old school, like maybe it has color, but that's probably about it. So if I want to send them a message and have them get it right then and there, I can't do it.
My most annoying thing is the other direction. When someone sends me an MMS
Yep.
on the phone,
Yep.
and so what you get is this text from AT&T saying, hey, you've got an MMS, go to this site,
Yep.
put in this username and password. Punchline being, there's no copy and paste.
Right.
So I have to either write them down and go into Safari or wait till I get to a computer to see it.
Yeah, totally maddening, and they didn't address it at all, and that's my biggest down point on the new phone.
The copy and paste just, I got to think at this point, if we don't see it soon,
We're just
if
not
it's
gonna.
no, if
Yeah.
it's not a hidden feature in the iPhone, it's just not something that's coming.
Right.
But you might as well address it because
Yeah.
we're going to want to have to keep talking about it here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I pulled this. So you might be thinking, oh my goodness, he's slurring his speech. But besides that, you might be thinking, oh my goodness, what are all these GPS companies going to do now that the iPhone has GPS or assisted GPS built in? More on that as we find out about
Yeah,
it.
it's kind of weird.
But TomTom, at least, is taking a proactive approach here. Word coming from Engadget that TomTom already has an iPhone-ready version of their navigation software
Cool.
ready to go.
Awesome.
That will probably not be a $9.99 app.
That will probably not be a $9.99 app.
I mean, you're talking about a company that lives on, $200 plus hardware devices.
Yeah.
Now selling a piece of software. So
I don't think it'll be too outrageous, to be honest with you, though.
I say $50.
Yeah, and I think that's reasonable. I think that's reasonable for their mapping software, which is pretty good, by the way.
And we'll have to see just what the built-in system is capable of. Maybe it's redundant to
It's
do this.
kind of weird. From what I can tell, and by no means am I an expert on the GPS capabilities or functions of the new iPhone, but it's more of a way to really tell you where you are instead of getting this perimeter of where you might be. Mm-hmm. It's like you're like a flashing blue orb of GPS goodness and where you are. So it uses that along with the cell triangulations and the Wi-Fi hotspots to tell you really where you are. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't seem like the Google Maps part of it is going to give you turn-by-turn directions as you're driving.
Right. And one of your concerns was if your phone is your GPS.
Yes. And that's what I've always
happens
I've
when you
always
get a
had
call?
concern about, the GPS on a smartphone, and you get your call and you have to decide, well, am I going to stop my route or pause my route, or am I going to take my call? And I don't think in a perfect world you should have to choose.
That's right. You shouldn't have to choose. Rick in Portugal, where it's 2 a.m., thank you for tuning in, Rick, points out that helping us with the assisted GPS thing,
Okay.
it's more accurate because you're using different satellites to... It uses the cell network to pick the correct satellites, essentially.
Makes sense to me.
Okay, it's you.
That's me. Right
This
in.
is the end of the fishbowl, folks.
the end of the fishbowl.
Well, for tonight, it'll be back. Don't... Mobile Media versus .Mac.
If we haven't killed that, huh?
If we haven't beaten that to death yet. By the way, there are some new videos and so forth online on the Apple site. We didn't get them into our loop yet on Mobile Me and some of the new features. Check it out. I'm still saying underwhelming on this keynote. You're saying you had some time to reflect.
Yeah.
You're not so sure that's fair.
I don't think that it's fair. Is it a little underwhelming? Yeah, but why? It's because we're so hyped up to think, oh, we're going to get the new next revolutionary device during one of these announcements, and more often than not, it's a speed bump, or it's the next version of something, which isn't totally redoing it. It's changing the features and benefits a little bit. It's giving it a new jazzier look, and it's going to give you, better performance, which is really what you're getting here. You're getting better performance.
They got to you, Adam. They got to you.
No, I don't know that they did. I mean, am I excited about it personally? Not really. I mean, I don't think it's the most compelling thing to run out and go get, but I think that it falls in line with what normally happens during one of these keynotes. That's not, we're revolutionizing the phone industry, So that's my take on it. Let it simmer.
Let it simmer. I'd give my thoughts, but I hate to leave on a downer.
Let's not leave on a downer, because we have tons of really cool stuff on the website.
Well, wait, before you go into that, here's my real quick commentary.
Okay.
And I can always expand on the blog because we always have fun stuff in the blog.
We do.
Feel free to check that out, digitallifestyle.tv. Click on blog. I guess the thing that I was a little surprised by was the developers came up there, and one after another, almost each one of them, it was a port of something from something else. Or it was an app that could probably be a web app and function normally. There really was nothing that, other than Super Monkey Ball, that really said, look at what this device can do, look at the location aspect of it. Yes, there was Looped, the social networking thing, but there was no game integration. Look at what this accelerometer
but there was the MLB thing, which is pretty cool. I mean, if you're a baseball fan, that's really cool stuff.
Yeah, but there's no reason you couldn't do that now as a web app, at least with Wi-Fi.
With the web app with Wi-Fi, I tend to agree, but it probably wouldn't be as slick.
It just didn't seem like anything really took advantage of the input, the touch interface to really, I mean, hopefully those things are coming. It's early, but we'll see what we got. Okay, you were saying, Big Upper.
I was going to say, the Big Upper. There's always lots of really good stuff on the website, digitallifestyle.tv. You got the blog on there. New forum on there. Check it out.
Just opened today, so if you ever want to get in on the ground floor, this is it.
Yeah, so really cool stuff. Be sure to check that out. And, we always have our fresh video content on there, whether it be a review or original programming or, whatever it may be. So,
very
check
cool.
it out.
Very cool. And also, don't forget the little donate button down there if you really enjoy the show.
Yeah.
It's $5. That's $5 US. Come on, those of you with the euro, help us out, because I know...
Yeah.
It's $1.17. It's less than one of those crazy horoscope text message services. Everybody in the forums will have the show notes, so if you want to read more about any of the things we brought up here, we'll have links to all the source material. And thanks again today to Sydney and Matt from the iLife.com for bringing us the live video from San Francisco. Well, we might try to check in with Sydney again throughout the week. He's attending all the different forums. With that, I think we're going to head back to the Loop.
Okay.
And check out the blog, subscribe to it, good stuff there every single day. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
All right. With that, we'll say farewell and see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.